Mershod in the house. Hey, Mershod. So talk to me, man. Fear around calling the SOI. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for taking the time this morning.
Sure.
I actually, went very deep and wrote down the whole fear that I have.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
Anytime I think of calling my SOI to keep in touch, and sometimes calling the new leads, the people that come through the funnels as well, this is what really gets in my way. It's a fear of not being accepted because I think my relationship with them is not genuine, and I'm only calling them because I want the business. And that thinking that I'm only calling them because of the business,
right?
That is what really holds me back, because I absolutely hate if someone's calling me and trying to be friendly and all but I know deeper in their purpose is just to get the business, and they might not necessarily care.
Sure. Yeah. And how do you feel about that? I mean, is your intention? What's your profile? You're a star? Is that right?
I am more of a creative.
Creative? Okay.
Yeah.
And okay. Have you ever taken the disc by any chance?
I think I did.
Okay.
I think I did. I think it was part of the mentorship master's steps, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I'd just be curious to see that whenever at any point, not right away. So the whole idea is being disingenuous, or the idea of that you're not being, you're being disingenuous when you're calling, because you're calling with, you're calling them because you want something from them, basically, or you desire something from them.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And when you did the work before and you looked at that, where does that stem from? From what point in your life, childhood, could you clock back to that or no?
Yes, I can give you a little bit of background as where I'm coming from. And before I get into that, let me write down the outcome that I want to get and what I want to become. So I want to be in a place that when I pick up the phone and I'm calling somebody, I am doing them a favor by calling them and checking with them, because I know deep within me I am the best in the business to get it done, so they will be glad to hear from me.
Gotcha.
And where this comes from is because when I was growing up, my dad had and still has a store in a small town in Iran, and that store was pretty much the number one running store in terms of volume and the business, just because what my dad was bringing as far as the quality of the products was always the best. So people would travel miles and miles just to shop from our store because they know we had the goodies. So I'm grown up and I'm used to people coming to us because what we had always was the best. And this is, since I was a little child. And I think I'm kind of answering myself at the same time too. By becoming the best in what I do. So
yeah.
But I know there's blocks that that there's fears that I need to overcome.
Also. So you're equating. So when you were young, you guys had a store that was thriving. Your dad had the best products. He was known as being the one that had the goods, as you said, and you don't feel that way when you call?
I do not.
Yeah. So again, when we do work like what we're talking about now, obviously you can do it cerebrally. That's you can work from a conscious level, but most of the magic really happens subconsciously, right? But coming into a conscious understanding, which you already have, in my view, is the majority of the problem solved. It's like, okay, I'm aware of this issue. I'm aware of this scenario that plays out. And most people are just not aware. They have blocks, but they're not aware of the block. In most cases, this is a fairly obvious one. So yeah, so obviously some hacks, because here's how I look at fear. Okay, fear in my understanding of it is to be transcended. Okay, it's not something that, in my understanding, that has to be eliminated. Okay, Scripture says perfect love casts out all fear. All right, so what that means is that the opposite of fear is love. And so when we come to an individual with love, we come from a standpoint of love, then it will be received as such. But fear in and of itself is something that will be there, and we kind of work through it. We don't eliminate it completely. You know what I'm saying? So to give you an example, so Michael Jackson was a great performer. He could fill out stadiums, arenas, any size, but he was deathly afraid of the stage up until his passing. I mean, he wasn't afraid of the stage, but he still had the symptoms of fear when he got on stage. Okay, so he was queasy. He couldn't eat anything before. He felt like he was going to vomit. He was sick. But when that first beat dropped, he was good. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't really something that he overcame in his lifetime. Okay, but he was able to transcend it by continuing to do the activity that was necessary. But obviously, when you change from because really the two motives that we do something are fear and love, ultimately. So if I could actually do the same, I could pick up the phone, call someone out of fear, like I got to pay my bills, my mortgage is due, rent's coming up, I got to make this money, I got to get this hustle on, I got to get another deal. So that could be the motivation. Or it could be like, hey, I've got something incredible to offer, and this person needs to know about it. And if they may hate me for calling them, but I'm going to call anyway, because they got to know about what I have to offer. So where that really comes through more, from what I've seen, is having a niche. Like when you have a specificity, a specialty, because that's when you start. So basically, lead generation is a combination of recruiting and attracting, right? And eventually you can get it to the point where it's all attraction. They're actually coming to you, like your dad, because you had the goods, but if you feel like you don't have the goods, then it's either the skills, you got to skill up, or it's the expertise, or it could be the specificity that you have, that where people come to you. And so what's your script when you call them? How are you scripting it, or what are you saying?
Well, as far as my SOI, it's just checking in. If the very few people that very few times that I've called is just genuinely wanted to see what's going on in their lives. But since I am mostly in work mode.
Sure.
I'm not in that place. It's very rare that I'm in that place.
Yeah.
And usually those people that I call are people that, probably some sort of from my back home, or some people that I can, relate and make easier conversation to see what's going on. But as far as my major past clients, that I was just a commodity to bring their home to them.
Sure.
Never made a deeper connection, given the fact that majority of my career was in that crazy 2 years of real estate.
Sure.
I don't necessarily have a script. It's just me wanting to see what's up.
Yeah. So that's actually the best script. So the best script. So let me give you a script that I recommend you try. Okay. So that's just calling just like you do right now. Hey, how's it going, Mershod? Just calling to see how you're doing. And that is the conversation. That's the tone of the conversation. That's all it is, all it really is about. And eventually the goal is really to get to a point where it doesn't matter the outcome. The outcome is irrelevant. You're really just calling to see how they're doing. If it can be a win-win, then it's great. If there's no win-win, then that's fine too. It's okay. Eventually, as you just chat with them, obviously you check on Facebook, social media, see what's going on with them. Hey, Mershod, I saw you just got a new puppy, and this and that, whatever. You make conversation. And then it comes back to you. Well, Mershod, how are you doing? You say, you know what? I'm doing really good right now, but I got a big problem. Well, what's your problem? My big problem right now is inventory. That's my problem. I need more. And I'm looking to help 3 more families before the end of the month. If you make it about service, because that's what you're about anyway. Look, Mershod, I'm looking to help 3 more families before the end of the month. Who do you know that's maybe looking to sell or buy? Do you know anyone? So in other words, it becomes a thing where people love to help.
Right.
And this may be a worthiness thing. Okay. I don't feel worthy of assistance from others. I don't feel worthy of their help. You may have done some work in that area. It might be a worthiness thing there. Who am I to call this person? And, what do I have that someone else doesn't have? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, if you start to answer those questions for yourself, then it's going to make sense, and the best way to answer that is through having a great niche, and then also building up your farm. If you haven't done that already, people want to hear from you. And the reality is, if they haven't heard from you already, they're disappointed. In a sense that they expect to hear from you. They know that you're in the business, and either way, what you have to understand is either way, there's going to be, like, if you call them, you might think, well, they're going to be disappointed that I called them for business.
Right.
But then if you don't call them, they're going to be disappointed that man, that guy sold me a house. I never heard from him again. I thought he was a nice guy. I mean, I still think he's a nice guy, but I guess he's just real busy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
Which was, kind of true. And I think it was one of my blind sides as a realtor, that I never valued the core relationship between people. Right. And now I'm understanding.
Yeah. And some of the maybe misguided guilt might be, well, I never called this person before. Now all of a sudden I'm calling them because I need help, or I'm finally following a practice, and there's some guilt in that. And so the way to overcome that is just to start it with an apology call. In fact, I have a script for that. You probably have this book. Artemis has a version of it, Triple My Listings. Mm-hmm. And there's a script in here that is basically where you actually make a call, and you just apologize and say, hey, I just want to let you know, Mershod, I got to tell you, man, I have done a terrible job. The last couple of years, the market has been nuts, and I have not made the time to really, reach out. But I got to talking to my coach the other day, and this is something that's been convicting me for a while. In fact, I actually feel there's a certain way that I feel right now about calling you. It just, I feel a bit guilty because I haven't stayed in touch. But what I'm making a promise to right now is that I'm going to stay in touch from now on. I'm coming up with a process within my business, within my organization, where I'm going to reach out a couple of times just to check on you. I want to be that source for you anytime you think of real estate, or I'm also into these other areas, X, Y, and Z. So when you think of that, I want to be the person that you think of. And I know I haven't earned that to this point, but I'd like to earn that going forward. Mershod, would that be okay with you to hear from me a few times, just to check in on you? Would that be all right?
Absolutely.
So now, and so now you've gained their permission. You've made the apology. You've gained their permission to call in the future. And now they expect to hear from you. Now there's an expectation, and then it's just keeping your word on the expectation that you set at that point. And that's another exercise that we do that makes it easier to make that call.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But think of it this way, Mershod, because you said, you felt like you became a commodity, which is very true. The skillionaires are the ones that are going to become the millionaires in this new economy. So you have to skill up. And if you've read, I'm sure you've probably read it or seen it around, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. He says the 3 things that you have to do to excel in your business is, number 1, you have to do something that you absolutely love. Okay. Number 2, you have to learn a niche of that, or a specificity of that, and be like the best at it. Okay. Like your dad, he loved what he did, and then he became the best at having the latest stuff, or having the stuff people wanted. Right. And then the third thing for success is to pay it forward and help others do the same, help them reach their goals, along the way. So those are the 3. So when you start to specialize, don't think that it's going to pigeonhole you and that none of the other clients are going to want to work with you because you have a specialty. Sure. It's all it is it's a division of your company. It's a department. We have a men's department. We have a women's department. We have, this department, because ultimately, if you grow big enough, or you choose to grow big enough, you could have multiple divisions that do different niches. See what I'm saying?
Sure.
So yeah. Is that helpful? A script 100%. Around those?
100%. I think one of the first best things that you touched on was coming from a place of love. Because subconsciously, anytime that I think of calling someone, I'm thinking about, how can I add more value to this person?
Sure.
Lender, or send them a market update. But it was from a place of fear.
Sure.
Not, my pipeline getting dry. But now that it's going to be, as you said, just changing the mindset around that, and it's coming from a place of love, I'm excited to go call these people.
Absolutely, man. Because you can do the same things and I learned this from Dr. David Hawkins. I mean, scripture talks about it, but Hawkins kind of put it in a way that really helped me understand and make sense of it. And Artemis had recommended me that book, Letting Go. And so when you look at the scale of emotions, love is one of the higher emotions. And then of course, fear is one of the very lower emotions. And yeah, you could do the exact same thing, but just change your motivation right before you make the call. And eventually your whole life becomes that motivation, but people sense it. They'll be like, I don't know what it is, but there's something different about Mershod. I don't know. I want to help him. I just feel, they have a sense that you really care about them, their needs,
Yeah.
And so that, coupled with the apology, I mean, if you really feel like, the way you feel is, it could possibly be the way they feel. It could have nothing to do with the way they feel. They still have a feel good about you calling with an apology for not staying in touch,
Right.
And then you piggyback that with, hey, I'm going to make a commitment going forward to call you and just check on you, see if there's anything you need. I've got a lot of resources. I know painters, I know plumbers, I know people that do carpet. cleaning. I know house cleaners. If I don't know them, guess what? I've got thousands of people in my network, and we look out for each other. If there's a bad one, we we shoot darts at it, and we try to get. I'm going to try to work to make sure if you ever need a trade, I'm your electrician, whatever. Okay, or you need some. You might need a job. Okay, guess what? I can help you try to find a job. I know a lot of people. A lot of my clients work in a lot of different industries, and I can help put the word out for that. So whatever it is that you need, let me help, be a resource for that as well. Find out what they need. See, sales is this. I'm going to share this with you. This is sales. Sales is finding out what people need and making it easy for them to get it. That's all it is. Okay. So when you make the call, you find out what they need. Okay. And then you try to make it easier for them to get it. And then people want to reciprocate. Well, how can I help you? Oh, well, right now, the biggest need I have is inventory. I've got 3 families I'm looking to help right now. In fact, maybe of somebody that's thinking about buying. Now, chances of them thinking about somebody that's looking to buy or sell are very slim. Okay. But the fact that you asked them and then you said, hey, by the way, now they know that you have a need, you have a problem, you're trying to help families. And then if you say, hey, and every month I want to, I'm looking to help a couple of families every month, maybe you can help me with that. Okay. So now they're on your bandwagon to help you. And then you teach them how to refer you business. Just say, hey, anytime you come across someone like that, just send a text, just do a 3-way text and introduce me to them. Or ask them if it's for permission to reach out. Don't give them my contact information, because most people they don't feel comfortable calling somebody that's a stranger. But if you would just make a warm introduction via text, that's great. Or, you could just ask them, hey, is it okay if I share your information with Mershod? I'm not going to try to sell them. You already know me, how I operate. I'm not going to try to sell them. If it's a fit, it's a fit. If not, it's not. Get in it, and then so you're teaching them how to recruit business for you. See what I'm saying?
Right.
That's a key step,
Sure.
And then you've given them permission to reach out a couple of times a year, and then you just put them. Now you only have to reach out to your top 100 or 200. Okay, so you don't have to reach out if you come up with a database of if you have 500, 1,000 people, just your top 100 or your top 200. Okay. In love.
Yeah. For sure. And it makes sense, because you're kind of like planting the seeds in their mind.
Right.
Next time, because most people probably just, it's their blind side. They don't care if someone says,
sure.
Oh,
Sure.
From one ear into the other.
You're exactly. I'm glad you caught that, because you're planting the seed in their mind of, oh, Mershod told me, and he's going to call me back in 6 months. And he told me if something came up, and then when you call him, you say, hey, I know it's been 4 or 5 months since we last talked. And it sounds like you really haven't come across anybody. Crap. Yeah, I did have a couple people. Well, anytime you come across. So now you're teaching them how to recruit for you. You see what I'm saying? And then it becomes a habit. You'll have about 25 people, man. If you have a list of 200, you'll have about 25 people, doctors, dentists, nurses, people that do business with other people. You have about 25 of them that just become very acclimated to recruiting for you. And they'll send you 2 to 3 leads every year. Okay. So that's 50 to 70, 75, 80 referrals. That's a lot of potential business.
Yeah. That comes in with trust.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
That awesome. I really, really appreciate this, Uncle Knolly, because
sure.
I personally, I'm the biggest fan of how you think and how same thing could be said 2 other ways, but the way it's being said and the way you think, it just resonates with me, and I just can't get it like this. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a gift of perspective that God's given me. It's a gift of perspective. Yeah. So the one last thing I wanted to reach out to tell you about is you only have to reach out to your SOI twice a year.
Sure.
Okay. Now now that's by phone call. All right. But if you send out 12 once a month, you send an automated e-newsletter. Okay. 4 times a year, you send them a postcard.
Sure.
Twice a year, you call them. That's an 18 touch. They're never going to forget you, man. They're never going to forget who you are. And so, but the reach out that we're discussing today, that only has to happen twice a year. So in effect, if you have a list of 200 people, you're only calling 1 or 2 people a day. So that's an easy program. Love you, brother.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
All right.
Well, thank you very much. I really enjoyed this, and many more. I will reach out to you more just to let you know. But anytime I come across these type of fears, I really appreciate it.
Amen. I appreciate you being honest with this too. With your permission, we'll talk about it later. But I think this could help a lot of people. You know, if I privately shared it with people that are going through the same struggle. You know,
100%. You have my full permission. Thank you.
All right, love you, brother.
Take
care.
Love you too.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hey, I want to invite you out to Knolly Coaching Club. That's right. The Knolly Coaching Club is where I'm able to teach, train, and coach you every single week to your ultimate greatness. Go to knollycoaching.com and I'll see you on the inside.